evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Mid-Atlantic Mauling League's Dungeonbowl. We are in week number 5, game number 2 of the evening. It's going to be a really fun one as both teams have Nuffle to contend with a little bit. Tonight we're going to have Carnage Incorporated versus No We Don't. You think I had 10 minutes deliberately to set up for this, and all I did was get a soda that we already established I drink far too much of. Let me, give me a minute, I'll set this up real quick. Oh, get out of here, me. Like I said, both teams have Nuffle to contend with in a couple of very interesting ways. Tonight we're gonna have, there we go, Dead and Loving It versus the Gastonburg Cavaliers. We've got SB versus Eagle TSI. We've got Vamps versus Old World Alliance. Let's take a look at the standings real quick before we get into these two teams' rosters. That's right. Yep, there we go. How about we do that? Hey! We'll get there. In Division A, in first place is Odin and Snuffle, coached by Clypheus. They're a Norse team. They're 3-1-1. They're followed by the Gunnerballs in second place. That's El Nubrina's Orc team. They're 3-1-0 with the NC Snakes. In third place, Move's Dark Elf team. They're 2-2-0. Over in Division B, in first place are the Believe Broncos, coached by BB Nut. They're a Nurgle team, and they're 3-0-1. Carnage Incorporated, with their win earlier this evening, is in second place. That's McMackey's Goblin team. They are undefeated with a record of 2-3-0. And in third place is Technobubble Inc. That's my team. It's a human team, and they are 2-2-0. And over in Division C, in first place is Philosopher's Song, Spire's Lizardman team. They are 4-1-0 in this competition, with MAML Nightmare very closely behind. That's Festoon's Necro team. They're 3-1-0. And the Discomancers are in third. That's Ian's Necro team. They are 3-0-1. The home team for this evening will be the Vampires of Dead and Loving It. They have 16, 15, 14, 13 players on the roster. Well, 14 players on the roster, but number 16's out with an injury this week. That's going to bring their TV to 1,140,000 gold. They have 5 vampires on their roster if you include the big guy, the Vargeist, Uncle Albert II. They have a thrower, a runner, 2 blitzers, and a whole bunch of thralls. 5 dedicated fans and 4 rerolls. They're going to be up against the Gastonburg Cavaliers, an OWA team, 11 on the roster, bringing their TV to 1,240,000 gold. That's 100,000 gold going to the Vamps tonight. We'll talk about what they might do with that in a little bit. But this is a team with a whole bunch of different players on the roster, right? You have an ogre, you have a catcher, you have a human blitzer, a dwarf blitzer, you have a troll slayer, you have 2 regular dwarves, you have a halfling, and then you have a handful of regular human linemen as well. 1 oppo, 3 dedicated fans, 3 rerolls. How are these two teams going to play tonight? We'll talk about the home team first. This vampire team. This is the first time we've seen Vamps in the league. And the way they work is you have these incredible players in these vampires. Look at this vampire thrower. You have a strength 4 thrower. That's not a mistake. Strength 4 thrower. Edge 2. Passing 2. Of course, you have the pass skill. You have Hypnogaze. All of these vampires, all of the vampires, save for the big guy, are going to have Hypnogaze as well, where they can turn a player off. They can entrance a player so that they lose their tackle zones and they lose any skills related to tackle zones as well. That's an additional action that these vampires have access to. Absolutely awesome players, right? These blitzers, they don't start with the block skill, but they do start with Juggernaut. They start with a strength of 4. Very, very, very good. Not the least of which is because of Hypnogaze. But these stat lines are fantastic as well. The runner with an MA of 8, sure, it's an AV of 8, but you still have MA 8 with Agi 2 and strength of 3. It's absolutely amazing. All of the Vamps have regen as well. The big problem, of course, is Bloodlust. All of these vampire players have Bloodlust. The thrower and the runner have Bloodlust of 2+. The Vargeist and the 2 blitzers have a Bloodlust of 3+. And what that means is when they activate, they've got to roll a d6. If they don't succeed at that roll, then by the end of their activation, they need to be beside one of these thralls so they can bite the thrall, and it's a straight injury roll. So they bite the thrall, then they make an injury roll for that thrall, and that means a couple of things. One, oh, Ajax arrived. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate the kind words. Always great to have you here. Thanks for spending some time with us. Have a great night. But it means a couple of things. One, it means that these thralls are going to die, right? They're going to be removed from the pitch by S-Beaver's own teammates, right? And two, if S-Beaver wants to move this ball, he needs to have thralls in position. Remember, you have to end your turn next to a thrall. So imagine you are the vampire runner or the vampire thrower. You have the ball and you want to move it down pitch. If you don't have a thrall to end your turn by, then you are, it's going to be a turnover, right? And so you have to have the thralls in position ahead of time before you activate the blitzers so that you can start moving to where you want to be. And that's sort of doubly problematic because it telegraphs to your opponent where you might be headed, right? So it can be very, very tricky to play. That's why there's 4 rerolls on this roster. S-Beaver would really just rather not have to deal with Bloodlust and instead just burn through some rerolls instead. The OWA team, the way their big problem, we talked about how both teams have a little bit of a problem with Nuffle here. They're gonna have to pray to Nuffle a little bit. I know I'm behind time here. But they have all these different positionals. The big problem with them is Loner, right? So they have 5 players with Loner, right? You have the Ogre with Loner, you have the Dwarf Blitzer with Loner, the Dwarf, well, let's rephrase it this way. The Ogre and the Dwarves have Loner, right? So you're inevitably gonna fail a die roll, and that's where Loner can be problematic. So your turn order has to be very, very on point. And that also means that your opponent knows that you want to save those dwarf blocks until later in the turn. So they may try to switch things up to incentivize you to get a dwarf block early. You fail a loner roll, that's a turnover. Lots of block, lots of mighty blow on this roster means they can try to get a player advantage in the bashing game. The downside is Hypno Gaze is going to make it very, very difficult on offense for this OWA team to keep the ball safe. If you imagine a 4-point cage and 2 vamps come up and just Hypno Gaze 2 corners of that cage, there's now one whole side of that cage is now shut down, and now a blitz can come in on the ball carrier and you can stake that ball away from the team. Very difficult to stop a vampire team from getting at your ball, save for double caging, right? So it's really, really tricky on offense when you're up against a full vampire team. And for that reason, I think Dead and Loving It might want to start on defense if they win the coin toss, but we'll see. SB Beaver might decide to punch first with these really strong vampires. And that is always the prerogative of a coach. With 100K in petty cash, I think he might pick up a mortuary assistant here. The mortuary assistant will allow him to re-roll a failed regen roll. These vampires are so important to this team that if they start to get removed and fail regen, that's going to be a really big problem for this vamp team. He can pick one up for 100K. He's got exactly 100K, but we'll see what he decides to do instead. He could pick up a bribe and go heavy into the fouling game to try to get a player advantage that way. He could pick up an extra reroll. It looks like he's going to pick up an extra reroll. So he's going to pick up an extra reroll instead. It's going to bring him up to 3. And now here's the coin toss. Oh, is it really sunny? It can't be really sunny. Dead and Loving It wins the coin toss. It is really sunny. So this hurts the vampire team more than the OWA team, in my opinion. And that is because, as you can see here on your screen, all passes are a -1. SBB says, Ava, again, when I get the option, when have I ever started on defense? Move says, I think Vamps are one of the only teams against which I choose to start on defense and let them have the ball first. So the Cavaliers here, this Old World Alliance, has access to lots of different positionals, lots of different players here. It's basically a mix of humans and dwarves. So you have the bashiness of the dwarves and the slowness of the dwarves. And then you have the sort of the general purpose nature of the humans that don't really excel at anything but can kind of do everything. Proudstar says they're vampires in sunlight. It should be a -2. They should all be knocked out. I feel like if Bloodlust existed in first edition, that's exactly what would happen. If it's very sunny, they would just all be knocked out. Like pure 1980s game design. More or less an anchor on defense here with the big guy here, mock headbutt as the nose tackle. 5 on the line here for Dead and Loving It. They're going to match that big guy with theirs. Uncle Albert the second. Uncle Albert has Claw and Frenzy. Frenzy for the extra dice, but must follow up. But Claw treats everybody's armor as if it's an 8+. So these dwarves and that ogre have to be really careful near this Vargheist because he's treating everybody's armor as if it's Wood Elf armor. Here's the kick. That's such a weird ball. We're going to have a prayer to Nuffle. Friends with the ref. So arguing the call is going to succeed on a 1/3 rather than a 1/6. Turn 1 now for Dead and Loving It. They're going to get started with a 2-die block against the Dimwit, the number 8 dwarf blocker. They're going to get a push out of this. David Everett, the Thrall on the block. These Thralls are all an AV of 8+, so they're pretty brittle. Two-die against the Ancient will be a push. Feels really hot in here, but I know I have the thermostat not hot. Look at the temperature. It looks kind of hot in here too. I don't know why. 2-die block against the ogre, gets a pal here. Remember, 8+ breaks armor. Got the armor break, got a stun out of this. Like, I don't understand this ball. Like, what is like? I understand those are bats, but why? 2-die blitz against the Dimwit. Double pals here by Father Mayhe. Remember, every time these vampires activate, they've got to roll that Bloodlust roll. You can see there's already a Thrall next to that ball. But that's probably not where he's going to end with the ball carrier. We'll see. Succeeds on the Bloodlust roll, picks the ball up, advances up to the 4-yard line. Turn 1 now for the Cavaliers. No big losses for the Cavaliers here. They lost their big guy for a turn due to the stun. And now they take a mark on the left side, marking Caldo Vasco, the number 6 Vampire Blitzer. So these Blitzers and the Ogre fail Bloodlust on a 3+. The Thrower and the Runner fail it on just a 2. That Vargheist is just man-bat. It's just man-bat. Two-die blitz against Alan Green. Gets a push here. Looking for a 7+ with Mighty Blow. This is another tack you can take, right? In fact, it's often the tack an opposing team will take. These vampires, we talked about how great the vampires are. We talked about how they're reliant on the thralls, but let that sink in, right? These thralls are important. If you run out of thralls, suddenly it's very scary to play this team. And the thralls are brittle. So opposing teams will often go after those thralls and try to get them off the pitch, and that can limit your options. One-man player advantage now for the Cavaliers. It's very similar to a lizard team in that way, right? When the vampire team runs out of thralls, you better hope you don't fail bloodlust. Whereas a lizard team, when they run out of skinks, you're just not picking up the ball anymore. Proudstar says the Cavaliers beat me up pretty bad last week, so I won't root for them. You got to put up predictions. I already did. Let me make sure I did. Yeah, I already did. I give them. I give predictions. Basically, I get 5 minutes into the game. I don't want the game to play too long so that it makes it clear who's going to win. So I give all of the pregame, and I give 5 minutes into the game. So, actually, I think I might have messed that up. I think I might have given too short a time. I might have made it 15 minutes instead of 25 minutes. But the idea is, generally speaking, is I'll set up the prediction so that you get no more than 5 minutes into the game before you have to make your prediction. Proudstar says that halfling needs to die, gets away with everything. Yeah, I might have set it up to end 5 minutes into the pregame instead of 5 minutes into the game. I apologize. T9 Blitz on the right side gets a POW here against Hammer Fist. Just a 9+ to break armor. Broke armor. Gets a stun. Yeah, that thick skull, man. These dwarves generally have high armor at 10+. This was an average armor of 9+, but you still have to contend with that thick skull. Good dodge on the right side there. Again, that is a thrower with a strength of 4, an edge of 2, and a pass of 2. That blows my mind. Advances across the line of scrimmage to the opposing 6-yard line over in the right wide zone. I appreciate the 2+ dodge, no problem, but not chancing it on the rush. That's true. That's true, Proudstar. He is injured. These blitzers, the vampires with the inner yellow ring here. These yellow rings are blitzers. And so these vampires in yellow, remember that bloodlust rolls a 3+. Vampire setting up a solid line over on the right side of the field. Turn 2 back to the Cavaliers. The halfling, Bad Dime's going to move back into the secondary. BB Nut asks, how did the all stunty game go? Welcome back to the stream. It was 2-0 Goblins. It was fun, though. There were 2 deaths. Double pals against the rookie Bob Franklin. Now blitz against the big guy. Gets the knockdown thanks to block. Doesn't have to worry about claw unless it's going to be on a blitz. BB Nut asks, 2-0 Goblins? Really? They looked in trouble when I went for my break. Nope, they pulled it off, 2-0. The Halflings almost tied it up, but a really smart blitz by McMackey was able to knock the ball loose and basically kept it loose for at least a full quarter in the second half until they were able to recover and score. Seven seconds left for the Cavaliers here in turn number 2. Cavaliers sending a number of players into the secondary here as Zolinar the Fist McKee gets a push on Caldo Vasco. Turn 3 now for Dead and Loving It. They are a couple of spaces out of scoring position right now. Thralls have an MA of 6. Needs to reposition the Thralls first. He needs a Thrall where he wants to be, not where he's starting. If he fails a Bloodlust roll, let's say he declares a Blitz. But really, whatever he declares, if he fails a Bloodlust roll, he's able to redeclare his action to a regular move if he wants. So he could declare a Blitz, fail Bloodlust, and say, you know what? Actually, I'm not going to Blitz. I'm going to move instead. That way he can get to a Thrall and keep the drive alive. Turn 3 with a cage set up in the right wide zone. Now the ball carrier on the opposing 18-yard line. Threatening an early score here. 2-die block against Zolinar the Fist McKee. It's going to be a knockdown. No use of Hypnogaze yet. Hasn't needed it. If he was on defense, you'd probably be seeing it a lot more. But still very effective on offense. Stand-up blitz by Uncle Albert will be a knockdown on Mock Headbutt. Needs an 8+ to break armor with claws, but doesn't get it. Has to follow up due to frenzy. Dead and Loving It back on the bonus clock. Now 5 minutes 56 seconds remaining, and that will be it after one activation. Back to the Gastonburg Cavaliers at the bottom of turn 3. A mark taken on the front left corner of the cage. This is by the human catcher, Bad Penny. He is a blodger. And now the blitz with the killer. 2-die blitz. This will be a knockdown. 7+ breaks armor thanks to Mighty Blow. So no coverage ahead of the cage right now. Probably just trying to force this early score, then try to win 2-1. If you can force your opponent to score early and give you ample time to score yourself at the end of the first half, and the end of the first half will be a 1-1 tie. And then you will have the ball on offense to start the second half, and then you can just refuse to give the ball up to your opponent until the very end of the half and score again, and therefore win 2-1. Cavaliers back on the bonus clock. They have plenty of time on the clock. You get a full 7 minutes, 30 seconds for the duration of the game. Turn 4, back to Dead and Loving It. They can score if they wish. I think they may wish. We'll see. They could conceivably stall this out for one more turn, but we'll see what S. Beaver decides to do here. Still hanging on to a full 5 re-rolls. I should start talking to YouTube more. But I don't know what to say to YouTube. Hey, YouTube! Smash that like button! Ring that bell! And, you know, do those things. Double pals here against Bad Dime. Gets a knockdown, no armor break. Stand-up blitz by Uncle Albert the second. Gets a push. This will be a frenzy follow-up into a 2-die. Gets another push out of this. I am by no means an expert vampire. I'm by no means an expert coach, period. But I am not a terribly big fan of the big guy here. I don't know. It's like a bad rat ogre to me. I think I'd rather just have another vamp. Or another thrall or something. Early score here for the vampires. They take the lead 1-0 in turn 3. Turn 4? Looks like Willem Dafoe. So the Cavaliers now on offense with 5 turns to try to score. Dead and Loving It setting up their defense for the first time in this game. They've got the Varkheis as the middle linebacker currently. I don't know if, I don't think they'll put any vampires on the line. But that's going to give this offense at least 3 AV8 players to punch, plus a blitz. Cavaliers setting up their line. Currently with 4 on the line. Will probably go 5. They have a guardsman in the Ogre. So the Ogre... So the Ogre could say, like, go here, right, and let an assist. Or even could let an assist to both these players. Or could say where he is and just lend the assist here, and then you don't have to take the block with the Ogre. 7 on the line for the Cavaliers. 2 back to receive. The opposing team does not have a kicker. They've got the catcher back to receive. That's the blodger, Bad Penny. They also have the rookie lineman, Zolinar McKee, over on the left side for the kickoff return. That's a show-off kick. We got another prayer to Nuffle here in drive number 2, and the trap doors will be in effect. If you move on to a trap door, you roll a die, you fail the die roll. It is as if you have been surfed. I've never ever seen them ever used, ever. There'll be one trap door here and one trap door here. Yep, right here. I don't know what the design intention of those trapdoors is. Like it just doesn't make any sense to me. Is the idea to just funnel a team down, is to like shut off a wide zone or something? Two-die block on the right side against Bob Franklin. Gets another knockdown here. Here as the ogre goes boneheaded and has lost his tackle zones. Not too much of a loss for the formation. Two-die blocked by Werner Three Fingers. Werner Three Fingers with block, tackle, and mighty blow. Tackle not a factor in this matchup, but can certainly be a huge factor in other matchups. Amazons is the obvious one, but you know, any team that likes to have a number of dodge players, lizards, humans, halflings, goblins, elves. Good recovery here after the failed pickup. Spends a reroll to get it in the hands of the catcher. Now has the ball on their own 6-yard line. Going in for the foul here. Got the removal. Will get called off the pitch as the ref will have none of that in this game. That'll be the end of the turn. Second quarter begins here. Turn 5 for Dead and Loving It. 10v10 on the pitch right now. Dead and Loving It in the lead 1-0. They have a massive 5 re-rolls remaining. Processor says good, he got away with 6 versus me. Yeah. The Halfling team fouled me to oblivion. Gonna start with a big guy blitz. Wow, big guy blitz here on Frederick the Griffin Prince. Breaks armor, gets a stun. And now a 2-die against Kova's very long legs. Spends a reroll fishing for the knockdown and gets it. Crowstar says the halfling team is one thing. That one halfling beat me up until the 4th quarter. Very sad I wasn't able to catch any Blood Bowl at PAX. I saw the tables set up, but I wasn't able to catch any games. Turn 5 now for the Cavaliers. Still with a full quarter to try to score here at the end of the first half. BB Nut says could bring back Nurgle as new Nurgle looks fun. I think you might have said before, but I've forgotten. It's hard for me to retain I'm very much a book learner. It's hard for me to retain information unless I receive it in like a regimented way, like you know how like a book is set up or like a lecture or something. But so forgive me. I know you've mentioned it before, but What's new with new Nurgle? BB Nut says, assuming it's March, are we only going to run 2 competitions? What do you mean? You mean for next season? Like if the new rules go into effect in BB3 in March, and that's when we start the season, we'll just start the season in March. One die blitz against the big guy is a skull. Double skulls after the reroll. That is a turnover. Turn 6 for Dead and Loving It. BB says 4 stand firm bloaters. Pick me up rot spawn and thick skull sure-footed pestigores. Wow. Wow. So never failing a rush. Always getting the 2-die blitz with strike 4 or the 3-die. The bloaters just staying in your way more than they already are. And if you get lucky, you get pick me up. Two die against the ogre, breaks armor, gets a stun. Breaking armor, but just not getting the Kaz, not getting the knockout either. Can't roll higher than 7. Can't roll higher than 8. With thick skull. And the best cheerleaders in the game. Yup. And so I love, there's a publisher called Restoration Games. Their whole strategy is to remake classic board games. So they've done, they've remade Dark Tower, Star Wars Epic Duels, Thunder Road. They've remade a bunch of stuff. I own literally every game they've ever published. That's how much I love them. And they have a new game coming out. It's a remake of the old Battle Masters game from the 90s. And it's called Battle Monsters, and it's a Godzilla game. And I did not go in on the Kickstarter because it seemed expensive. It was like $300, and I was like, I don't know, man. But then at PAX, I saw the figures for the monsters, and they are enormous. Enormous. So now I'm really excited for it. Yeah, they remade Dinosaur Tea Party. I think the original was called Dinosaur Tea Party. They remade that old trick-taking game, Dragon Master or something? I can't remember what it was called. They remade Daytona 500, Thunder Road, Dark Tower, Epic Duels, Stop Thief, Key to the Kingdom. I think that's it. They have a prologue to the old Omega Virus game that they've been threatening to remake, and it just seems to have disappeared into the ether. Turn 6 now for the Cavaliers. After the good blitz here by Dead and Loving It, Caldo Vasco able to knock the ball loose from Bad Penny. They had an ultra under his feet. That means 40K Blood Bowl confirmed. One die on Alan Green. Got the pow and broke armor. Ball currently marked by 2 Vamps, right? And you're looking at a blitzer and a runner. That blitzer's strength 4. One die on Caldo Vasco gets a push. Still hasn't cleared the ball, but got rid of that blitzer. He won't follow up here. Great mistake. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. 2 die uphill against Uncle Albert. The second's not going to work out. This is going to be a skull. And that'll be a turnover. Turn 7 coming up for Dead and Loving It. Dead and Loving It has a real opportunity here to get on the ball. You just have these 2 players to contend with. One of which is a strength 2 catcher. Not going to deal with it. Instead, going for the blitz against Hammer Fist instead. We'll get the knockdown here. Marks the ball on the right side this time. And now a 2 die with Father Mayhe gets a foul here. He's going to get back into this game. He's gotten over his bloodlust. He's like, you know what? I'm a professional. I've got work to do. Whoa, what was that? What was that spinning bird kick? No use of Hypnogaze. Playing a very traditional game of Blood Bowl here. Fails the loner roll with the Vargheist and gets a both down out of it. That'll be a turnover. Turn 7 for the Cavaliers. Cavaliers have to end this turn in scoring position. Their furthest downfield players are these dwarves. It's probably not what they want. Not so much because they're slow, although they are slow, but they're not very agile. Someone has been watching Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. Yes, indeed. Training with Chun-Li. Stand-up blitz by Hammer Fist. Gets the knockdown on Caldo Vasco. Has to follow up due to Frenzy. Is he going to push onto the ball is the question. I can't tell what he did. He pushed onto the ball. Got a KO out of it. Ball bounces into the hands of Zolinar the Fist McKee. Fails the ball pickup here. And now the ball bounces just behind Bad Penny. He's going to have another opportunity to become the ball carrier here. Probably the best hope for the Cavaliers to get on the board. Marking out Caldo or Colonel Chi. So when we say marking out this, needs to spend the reroll. Has to spend it. Works out. Cavaliers are going to stay alive here in the first half. So when we say marking out, what we mean is if the player's here, and you put a player orthogonally on other side, either side of the player. There's nowhere this player can go that isn't a minus dodge. It's a -1 dodge in any direction. We've talked about this before, but be careful if you're a new player It only works orthogonally. It doesn't work diagonally. And that is because, as we've all been taught, that the diagonal here on the square, that's a longer distance than the edges of the square. So the way that works out is that these two directions are free. Cobblestorm with Telestrator of Doom. Yeah, I might have just hurt somebody by accident. Is it an accident when I know what the Telestrator is capable of? Fails the Bloodlust roll with Uncle Albert II. So now needs to activate. Stands up. He's going to take a bite out of Jim McKay, it looks like. So remember, this is a straight injury roll. And gets a stun out of it. I think that's the first bite. It's not the first failed Bloodlust we've seen, but I think that's the first bite on a Thrall we've seen. Very impressive to go the whole half that way. 2-die block against the Dimwit. Frank Drebin on the block. Gets the knockdown. And now the block on the ball carrier is going to be a dodge push unless this final reroll is spent. He'll take the dodge. Or take the dodge push, I should say. I think that puts him right... Yeah, he's still in range. Still in range. 13 spaces from the line of scrimmage to the end zone. He's got 8 plus 2 rushes is 10. 11, 12, 13. Blitz still on the table. He could push the player out of scoring range. Be tricky to do, though. It's not that tricky. It's not that tricky. 3 plus dodge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the blitz. Saving the reroll for this dodge. Doesn't need it. Here we go. Needs something other than skulls. That will do it. Very well done by S. Beaver. Very, very well done. Has pushed Bad Penny out of scoring position. But now needs to be very careful. Very careful of a chain block. Two-die over on the right side of the line. Gets a knockdown here against Werner Three Fingers, the murder player. Just on the bonus clock for Dead and Loving It. They're going to get a power. Turn 8 for the Cavaliers. The ball carrier pushed out of scoring position. But what can happen is a chain block can happen, which means he can block, say, number 11. And if there's nowhere for number 2 to go, like if this block is filled in, yeah, if this square is filled in, then the block coming in this way straight on means this player I'm one space off, but if he fills in the spaces here, that means this player on the block, if he has nowhere to go, you can choose where to go, and he would choose here, and then that would push this ball carrier back into scoring range. I may have just ruined it with the telestrator. 45 seconds to go for the Cavaliers. They have no rerolls left. Trying to get on the board here to finish this game, or finish this half 1-1 to try to win 2-1. If not, they might pivot to try to draw. What? So we got a 2-die block here with the troll, but this means that this player is going to have to end up here instead. It's just going to take the power. Well, yeah, or either one of these, but neither one of these is going to help on the chain block. So he's going to get the knockdown here. Is hoping for a 7+. Doesn't look like they got it. Blitz is still on the table. So the blitz. Blitz is Colonel Chi instead. So it doesn't look like Cavaliers are going to score here. They do break armor. You just get a stun out of it. And that'll be it. 1-0 at the half. Dead and loving it in the lead, but the Cavaliers will be on offense to start the second half of this game. So they might be pivoting their strategy here to try to walk away with a draw. But it's going to largely depend on how this drive plays out. If they can get a player advantage early, or say get all the vamps off the pitch or all the thralls off the pitch, then they may say, you know what, I think we can pull this out. I think we're going to go for the win. All right, 3 on the line for the defense, 5 on the line for the offense. So the offense is going to stay in the same formation here. Here's the kick. The flying kick. Oh, it's a timeout. Down to 7 turns. I think, I don't know who this favors, honestly. So now with 7 turns instead of 8, the Cavaliers will start the second half. We're in turn number 10. One-man player advantage for the Cavaliers currently. They knock down the left defensive end, get no armor break out of it. Now on the right side, they're going to get a push against Bob Franklin. If they came at this, from the right side and pushed in the left, they could have got a couple more blocks if they needed. They still have the nose guard to deal with, of course. But what you can do is, right, if you set up your line, you know, like so, and then you come in here on the blitz or the assist or whatever, and you get the 2 die here, you knock this guy down. Now he is he's no longer assisting this guy, right, who's now you have an assist here, you knock him down, and now you have an assist here, and you can sort of block down the line that way. Blitz on the left side to get a knockdown, hunting those thralls. I think that's a good call. They are the most frail pieces on the roster. And again, if that vampire team loses either of those sets of players, whether it's the thralls or the vampires themselves, then they could be in real trouble. Turn 10 now for Dead and Loving It. The older I get, the more I see all my friends get more and more tired. Me too. It happens to me too. But like, I'm still like hours delayed, I guess. like we've had game nights. Game nights used to go like into the wee hours of the morning. And now like sometimes they end at like 10. But like, I'm still awake for at least another 4 hours. Aldi Bruno says, I remember those days. Yeah. But like, I can feel it for sure. first use of hypnogaze in the game fails. Had a -2 there for the assists. Two-die blitz against Hammer Fist. Oh man, this is not gonna work out. He's gonna spend the team reroll. Got through Loner and gets a push. It'll be a frenzy follow-up. Still a 2-die on the frenzy follow-up. Got the PAL this time. 8+ breaks armor. No, yes, 8+ breaks armor. And now has a mark on the ball carrier with the big guy. Dead and Loving it back on the bonus clock. They have 3 minutes, 15 seconds to go. Like, I go to the doctor for everything. And as I got older and got more tired, I went to the doctor. I'm like, why am I so tired all the time? She's like, you're fine. Third 11 for the Cavaliers. My doctor is an absolute sweetheart. She's been my doctor forever. And she's so nice and so patient and tolerant. I'll be in there and I'll just be like, why? All right, I think I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. I went there in a panic because there was a bump on my knee. And I was like, this is it. I have bone cancer. So I went to the doctor and I'm like, yeah, I got this bump on my knee. I don't know what it is. And so she feels it. And she's like, yep, there's the bump. And I'm like, just give it to me straight, doc. And she's like, well, you've got the same bump on your other knee. And I'm like, what is that? Double cancer? She's like, it's just your knee. It's just your knee. I was like, oh, all right. She's so nice. I had some other ridiculous complaint, and she was like, I know we owe you an answer. No, you don't. I'm an asshole. You don't owe me anything. I owe you. Oh, God, I did it again. This right here is why I thought a mortuary assistant might be the call in the inducement phase here. Oh man, Frank Drebin, R.I.P. SP Beaver says, why, Eva? Why? I'm so sorry. Move said, when you said, oh, all right, you sounded disappointed that you didn't have bone cancer. Well, I wasn't disappointed. I was disappointed in myself for being such a stooge. Elder Marina says, my old doc was like, you need to lose 50 pounds or you're going to die. My new doc was like, you should lose some weight, but you aren't doing that bad for your age. Yeah, my doctor's the best. SP Beaver, thank you for the bits. Turn 11 for dead and loving it. Cavaliers have the ball on their own 4-yard line over in the left wide zone. I had a GI, so I have acid reflux. I have GERD, and so for a while, I was getting, I wouldn't say regular, but I was getting EGDs for a little while. And so anyway, the GI that I had was fine, but I didn't like them so much. And then I went to Sonic, which, if you're unfamiliar with Sonic, it's a fast food joint, and they sell like hot dogs and, junk food. I went to Sonic, got a hot dog, and I got a piece of hot dog caught in my throat where I couldn't swallow anything anymore. Like I tried to like force it down with like my soda, which apparently do not do. Don't try that because you can tear your esophagus and then you're in real trouble. But it got stuck in my throat. So I went to the hospital, and it was apparently right when like this one team was about to go home, and she was there, and she practices at the hospital, and she was like, well, you've just signed up for an EGD. I was like, or I think it was an EGD, but like she was gonna pull out the hot dog, and I was like, oh, okay, great. And then the anesthesiologist was super cool. We were like talking about airplanes for some reason. But anyway, long story short, after I woke up, I was like, so how'd it go? She's like, oh, we pulled some of it out, we pushed some of it in, but everything's fine. And like I was still under the anesthesia, and so I was like, I turned to her and I'm like, I'm gonna ask you a question. It's okay if you say no. And she's like, what is it? I was like, will you be my GI? And she was like, and she said to me, she's like, I would love to be your GI. So I had her as my GI for a while until she retired, because she had to take care of her mom. But she was super nice. Dude, I block against Colonel Chi, gets a knockdown here. BBNet says a good number of the doctors I work with I wouldn't want to look after me. I can believe that. I've seen some shitty doctors in my day. I will say, I won't. I mean, nobody would know anyway. But I have a friend who's an MD, who's a doctor, and we were at WBC and we were getting lunch, and we were drinking, and I probably shouldn't embarrass the person, but I'm going to do it anyway because I was impressed. But anyway, we were drinking, and my buddy was talking about like patients and things, and was genuinely distraught that he couldn't help everyone. And I found that so moving. I was so impressed and moved by that. Just genuine, honest concern for the well-being of his patients. That's what you expect every doctor to be, but I know not every doctor is like that. So I was very, very impressed. Two-die blitz here. Gets a push against Frederick the Griffin Prince. BB Nut says, I gave my mom a list of doctors that if my granddad is under while in the hospital, to ask for a new one. That's scary, man. There was a guy in Japan who wasn't even a medical doctor, and just due to like sort of social pressures, was able to practice as a surgeon for something like 5 years before getting caught. And he fucked people up, like ruined people's lives. Colonel Chi failing the bloodlust roll with 2 rerolls left for the game. And now Colonel Chi will need to end the turn next to a thrall, or else it will be a turnover. Repositions and doesn't gnaw on a thrall, so that is the end of the turn. So when you fail that bloodlust roll, again, you can redeclare your activation if you wish to be a movement. But if you don't end next to a thrall, it's a turnover, and you lose your tackle zones. You lose the ball as well. Where you carrying it. You can't score when you fail Bloodlust either, unless you have a thrall next to the end zone that you can bite. Good removal here. That's another thrall down. Probably was... I was going to say probably wishing there'd be more thralls down, but that's a decent chunk. Cobblestorm says, removing vampires does wonders for ball safety, huh? Good surf here. A number of removals now for the Cavaliers. We're going to give them the option here to set up a proper cage and start moving this ball downfield as we start the fourth and final quarter of the game. Two-die blitz against Allen Green is double skulls. A reroll spent for the knockdown. So as we've mentioned a number of times now in this game, losing one or the other of these groups on the vampire team, whether it's the vampires or whether it's the thralls, makes it a very puts a vampire team in a very difficult spot right now. Right, when you lose all the thralls, it's difficult to move these vampires around. When you move all the vampires, you have nobody good left. Right, you lose a lot of powerhouse players. And now Dead and Loving it down to just 2. And they fail their Bloodlust roll again. And now they have to think about what they're going to do here. Are they just going to stand still? Or are they going to spend a reroll? Team reroll spent. Dead and Loving it down to 1 for the game. Colonel Chi repositioned. So we've only seen Hypnogaze used once, right? And it failed. It was a -2. Sending Colonel Chi back to safety. You can see what Eagle TSI is trying to do here with this formation is being cognizant of Hypnogaze. Trying to set up multiple tackle zones to try to force the vampires to weave through and burn players on Hypnogaze, but not much of an issue now with just 2 vamps left on the pitch. Two-die block against Frederick the Griffin Prince. Gets a POW out of this. Turn 11 for the Cavaliers. Turn 14 for the Cavaliers. They'll move this ball down pitch to the 14 or to the 12-yard line. Well, they may move it a little further. It's going to depend. These dwarves are the limiting factor, really. But looks like expensive. It's very similar to a Wood Elf team in that regard, right? Except everybody's expensive on a Wood Elf team. It's very easy on a Wood Elf team to get into a death spiral, right? Week 1 of a season, you have a bunch of players, you don't have the money to replace them. Now you've got a bunch of journeymen, and then you continue. 2-die block against Alan Green will be a POW. Oh, is it? It's probably me not pushing the pedal down. My apologies. Sometimes I get a little too comfortable and I lean back in the chair, which makes my foot slide down. So the pedal is like kind of like a car pedal. So if my foot slides down to the bottom, I'm not actually depressing the pedal all the way. Turn 14 for Dead Loving It. It looks like they might be just allowing the team to score here and just acquiescing to the draw. Not that I blame them. These are important players. They don't want to lose. Uphill block here by Father Mayhe. That is that is a turnover. %91 of bets were for a draw. So keeping these vampires not only safe, but putting them back into the backfield here to play some defense as well. They'll well, I shouldn't say definitely. I don't know what's in the mind of S. Beaver, but I think they'll probably go after this ball if they see an opportunity without having to take undue risk. Wait, who is this? Who are these shields? Ball advances to the 16-yard line at midfield. Oh, scary positioning here. Now he has to worry about the thralls. Two-die block against Buddy Fox. Zolinar the Fist McKee is free to move. Can move in position. Gets a good... Wow. What a KO here. SB Beaver says, I play vampires. My life is undue risks. Howdy Kajuko, welcome to the stream. Howdy Kajuko says, I thought that was someone putting a collar on the bear dog and had something terrible to follow it up. Two-die block against Bob Franklin. Gets a POW here. Again, looking for just an 8+. Solid cage setup. Very difficult to stop the score. Turn 15 for Dead and Loving It. Cobblestone BB says, listen, SP Beaver, as a representative of the league's goblin coaches, I'll have to ask you to return our motto to us, please. It is trademarked. Marking out the right side of the cage. Wait, who? Colonel Chi. Oh, okay. I was like, who are you hypnogazing? On the right corner here. So failed Bloodlust. Triggered the hypnogaze on the front right corner. So that's an assist that will not be happening. Here's the blitz. It's going to be a 3+ dodge out from the front, I think. And then a 2+ dodge. There it is. Here's the blitz. 2-die blitz. No re-rolls remaining. All they get out of it is a push. Good blitz here with the hypnogaze. We'll see if this will be enough to stop the score. Father Mayhe with no skills to help on defense of a block. So Dead loving it, hoping for skulls coming the Cavaliers' way on turn 16. Failed dodge to a KO. That's okay. That's a safe thrall. He lives to fight another day. Turn 16 for the Cavaliers now. They are in scoring position. They just want to unmark the ball carrier, and then they're good to go. Here's the blitz with the killer. 2-die blitz. Got the pal. That's all they needed. They will not follow up here. With 2 re-rolls left, we'll see if the Cavaliers are going to tempt fate with any blocks, or if they're just going to score and draw this game. SP Beaver in the picture-in-picture. There it is. Very well done by Eagle TSI to tie this game. This one ends 1-1. Well, actually, I think there's a turn left, isn't there? 1 turn left. Unless, of course, there's a timeout. If there's a timeout, then Dead and Loving It can pull off a victory here. Again, remember the where is he? The runner is an MA8 with 2 rushes. That's 10, so 3 pushes to get the runner into scoring position for a 1 turn, but well, we'll see what happens here on the defensive setup. Yeah, trying to prevent the 1 turn here. Dead and Loving It looks to be setting up for a possible timeout. They get back the big guy in the Vargheist, but otherwise they're down to just 2 Vamps. Number 12 over in the right wide zone. This will be the pairing. It'll be number 12 and number 4. So number 12 will advance, and then number 4, if number 4 is to be the ball carrier, will follow up. Just in case they fail Bloodlust, they'll have number 12 to activate. The problem is with just having 1 thrall down there, if they fail that first Bloodlust, they got to pray to Nuffle that they don't fail the second one, or else they won't be able to score. SP Beaver said, I forgot my thrower's dead. Ted and Loving It. Trying to figure out how they want to play this turn. Again, it looks like it's going to be for the timeout. So the Vargheist going in the right wide zone, not even going to tangle with the line. All right. So just 2 marks on the line. Here's the kick. That's not going to do it. Not going to be enough. This one's going to end in a draw. 1-1 will be the final. And there's a failed Bloodlust. He's probably not going to buy any of his players at this point. Unless he's really wants some SPP. That'll be it. Didn't get anything out of it. Failed the Bloodlust roll. And this one ends 1-1. Yeah, tricky matchup, right? These 2 teams are hard to play. Oh wait, did he spend a reroll? Nope. Had a reroll left. All right, 1-1 the final. Yeah, two tricky teams to play, right? Any of these teams that rely on lots of die rolls, like Vamps, Ogres, OWA, when you're talking about Loner, it can be tricky to play. You've got to keep all of the Blood Bowl strategy and tactics that everybody else has to keep in mind. You have to keep that in mind. Plus, you need to also be on point with your probability calculations, your action order, right? There's a lot you have to really consider. Whether or not you're even going to activate a player for fear of them losing tackle zones or being a turnover. So tough teams to play. Really fun game to watch. And with that, Dead and Loving It will end week 5 in 5th place, at least currently, with a record of 2-1-2. That was a lot of fun to watch. The Cavaliers will be just ahead of them in 4th place. Similar records here, but the way it works out in our league is you're ranked by league points. You get 3 for a win, 1 for a draw, so you can see they're each at 7. And then it's who beat whom. So if one of these teams beat the other tonight, they would be ranked higher than the other one, provided they had the same record. After that, it's your touchdown differential. So you take the total number of touchdowns you've scored, subtract the ones you've given away. That's your TD differential. And that's where the Cavaliers are edging out Dead and Loving It currently. The final tiebreaker would be, if it was still tied, it would be how many touchdowns you've scored. You can see the Cavaliers have scored 5 versus 4 for the Dead and Loving It. And so they would edge them out there as well. But that's the final tiebreaker. There's actually one more tiebreaker just in case it matters. If we need to determine a top 8 cut and there's a tie, then you'd have a playoff game. But that's going to do it for this evening. Why don't we take a look at the schedule before we leave for the evening? Coming up next, we have 2 games tomorrow night starting at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's UTC -5. That will be the NC Snakes versus the Conduct Committee, Moob versus Berserker Tempest. We've got Dark Elves versus Goblins. And then later that evening at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we've got, in my opinion, the GOAT versus the Gunner Gets, Electrics Man versus Cobblestorm. I think that's Necro. Let me see. No, that's Skaven. That's Skaven versus Goblins. I'm looking forward to that one a lot. And those are the final games scheduled to be streamed in week 5, but 2 more games left to be scheduled. And when those games get scheduled, you'll be able to check out and get alerted to that schedule on our website at maml.club. That's maml.club here on Twitch, or on our social media pages on Blue Sky, X, and Facebook. You can also watch previous games on our YouTube channel, and you know what? You can even hang out in our Discord. I'll put a link in chat right now. In our Discord channel, you can hang out. We have dedicated channels for current standings, for schedules. You can check out the schedules there as well. Schedules in Discord are in your local time, so you don't have to do any weird time calculations. And you can even sign up for our next competition when the competition opens. We'd love to have you. We love this game so much. It's so much fun. You should play Blood Bowl. You can play Blood Bowl via Blood Bowl 3 on Steam, the Epic Game Store, PlayStation, and Xbox. And you can play it in tabletop form with a new edition, a new rule set, Blood Bowl 3rd Season Edition, at your friendly local game store. Until tomorrow night at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. I really do appreciate it. I love sharing this game. It's so much fun. Appreciate you guys all being here. And take care. And enjoy the rest of your Monday evening.